it didn't have a term. Like, we didn't actually know what to call it at that time, but we weren't creating content. We were understanding the data. And when I see content now or arguments online about whether AI is generating the Instagram caption or not, or whether it sounds authentic or not, I just think that's such a small, insignificant way of thinking about AI. You're only scratching the surface of what it can do.
Welcome to Rich Work, the podcast for established female entrepreneurs ready to turn their expertise into premium clients and consistent high-ticket revenue. I'm Rachel Pearson, global brand and business strategist, skincare obsessed, and always distracted by booking the next mini break. Here you'll learn how to position like a luxury brand, attract clients who love to invest, and build wealth that actually lasts, so you can create the business and life you want, not someone else's version of success. This is where premium positioning and building wealth meet for women who are rewriting the rules. Let's get into it.
If you browse through the podcast charts today, you will see a plethora of episodes around AI. I mean, I can't imagine why you'd want to go and look through other podcasts, but let's just imagine for a second that you do. Everybody's talking about AI, whether you are a coach, a consultant. Of course, the people that are selling courses about how to use AI are talking about AI, but it's across every aspect of not just business, but of life as well. And I personally feel like it is one of the most exciting innovations that we have seen for, I can't even think about how many years, generations, but we're not using it in the right way. The majority of people are not using it in the right way, or in a way that really utilizes the power of it. In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about how AI can be an asset, a thought partner, a powerful tool within your business, even when you're building a premium business, when you're building a business that has depth, when you're building a business that is based on client service and client delivery, that is selling high ticket, that is very focused on being very client centric. AI is so powerful to enable you to do that, but you have to understand how to use it in the right way. Make sure that you stay to the end, because I'm going to be talking through 3 very practical ways that you can start to bring AI into your business more from today. The conversation around AI almost universally goes like this. AI can write your content. AI can draft your emails. AI can build your frameworks. AI can help you post more, say more, produce more. That's not AI. That is autocomplete. That is run my business on autopilot. If that is how you're thinking about AI, if you're debating whether content sounds too robotic, too unauthentic, too generic, that's the least interesting conversation and version of what AI can do. AI is one of the most powerful tools that has ever existed in business. And I say that in a positive way, because I know there's a lot of scaremongering about AI, and I completely understand why. I have 2 children, young children myself, and I think about what is to come for them in generations to come. And that is always going to be the challenge of new technology developments, new access to data. But all that we can do, in my opinion, is really think about how we can use these things in a positive way and become aware of the negativity and educate ourselves around that. So today I'm not focusing on the detrimental sides of AI, because honestly, that comes into all of tech and outside of tech as well. It's just human behavior and the detrimental sides to that. I'm going to be focusing on how can we use the tools that we have at our fingertips in a more positive way. Because ultimately, the benefit of any tool, including technology, is as good as bad as the human behind it. When you feed something into AI, the power of AI is not to create, it is to understand. When you feed something into an AI, whether it's a question, a search term, a prompt, you are contributing to the largest accumulation of human data in history. The reason that Google and the major tech platforms are moving budget away from traditional ads and into AI-driven search is not because AI writes better headlines. It's because AI can see patterns in data at a scale and at a speed that no human team can match. So let me take you back to the original vision for what we now call AI. So the version that was being developed in research labs, this application of AI was focused on medical institutions before it became something around productivity and how to create for content creators. It was never about how can we generate more stuff. It was about pattern recognition. It was being able to look at millions of data points and surface the signal, the thing that matters inside all the noise. So the earliest applications of AI were in the medical field, where they explored how to connect patients with conditions to the right specialists faster, because AI could see what a human triage system would take weeks to identify. It would take weeks or months to identify where can this patient go within the healthcare system if it was done by humans. It wasn't because AI could write a referral letter. It's because it could see how the data could connect up faster. There's a great book on this called Super Agency, which is partly written by Reid Hoffman, and it really explores the upsides of AI as well as the realistic connotations of it. What I want to suggest today in this episode is that the same principle of how to connect data applies to your business right now, whether you have 10 clients or 100 or 1,000, whether you're doing 6 figures or 7 or less than that. You are sitting on data, probably more than you realize. And most of us as business owners are not utilizing it. So let me explain why I think in this way as well, and give you some context of how this isn't something that I am saying is coming in the future. This has been happening for years in big businesses, and we're now seeing it come into smaller businesses. And frankly, we need to get with the program. When I worked in corporate, one of my roles was, towards the end of my corporate career, I was a business director for a very large company who I won't name, but I will name by describing them. It's blue and yellow. It's famous for its meatballs and the hot dogs. It might sell furniture as well. You know the one I'm talking about. I was working with their leadership team. I would fly to Rotterdam every week. Like every week I would go to Rotterdam. I would sit with them for a day because I was responsible for managing how their brand developed through the company that I worked for. And that meant that I looked at how their brand was tracking, like their customer perception of the brand. It would look at how to expand their retail model into different avenues, such as inner city shops, e-commerce. But one of the key things that we looked at was customer experience. We ran huge surveys every year across all of their stores, so globally, to understand what the experience was like for their customers in those stores. Can you imagine how much data we got? The volume of information was overwhelming. We had real-time feedback. We had data when they came into the store, when they were going through the experience, when they were leaving the store. We had staff input, so their employees were inputting into this as well. Huge. And then the brand's entire model of how they ran their stores and how they developed the brand depended on this in-store experience, because they were a huge retail brand, right? That's their bread and butter. And they also weren't competing on premium price. So it's not like you go in and this wasn't it's not a luxury brand, let's be honest. But it is very, very well known for what it does. But they had to compete on experience, especially as I'm going back 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, maybe actually, 10 years ago, it was when Amazon was really coming through to start to sell furniture. It's when there were a lot of non-traditional retailers that were coming in to sell exactly what this brand also sold. So the stakes for getting that experience right in store had never been higher. So here I am managing all of these different teams across the agency that I worked for. We had a lot of pressure on understanding this data, then helping the the team that I was working with, the client I was working with, to look at what does that mean for their brand and their development. There was a lot of expectation on this. And we had most of the agency working on this. Right? This was our biggest client. And then I started to work with somebody at the agency who I will name because he deserves recognition. His name is Brad. And Brad, if you're listening, I could see exactly what you were doing. You were just years ahead of where everyone else was in the room. So Brad was my colleague, and back in 2017, 2018, he worked on a machine learning system to process all of the customer response data, not to produce it, not to generate it, to read it, to group it, to find the themes in it, to bring out the customer responses that none of our human team could do that quickly. And what we were able to do because of that system was to understand what customers were actually experiencing in those stores, not just assume what they were. We could mine the data for insight. We could see the themes that were coming through, and we could optimize the experience by individual store, which at that scale was completely transformational. We had never been able to look at the data in the way that we were when we applied this machine learning. I was working with AI 9 years ago. It didn't have a term, we didn't actually know what to call it at that time, but we weren't creating content. We were understanding the data. And when I see content now or arguments online about whether AI is generating the Instagram caption or not, or whether it sounds authentic or not, I just think that's such a small, insignificant way of thinking about AI. You're only scratching the surface of what it can do. So here's what I want to introduce instead. Your business right now, even if you feel like you're not where you want to be yet, you're still building, you're moving into scaling, is generating data every single day. And before I go into how, of course, you need to have the legal implications set around this. I'm not going to go into detail around this on this call, but you absolutely, when you're working with any data, need to have all of your data protection and regulation to a T. So communicating to clients how you're using their data, making sure that your data is stored properly, making sure that you're following all the GDPR, all of that you need to have, and it needs to be really clear in your contracts. If you have not looked at how to use AI and that is not clear in your contracts, go and do that first. But if that is all there and you are already covering that, then I want you to really think about how you're using AI in your business to look at your data. Every client call, if you do sales calls, every onboarding form, every offboarding survey, every comment on your post, every reply to your emails, every question asked in a group, a DM, a voice note, that's data. And most of you, I'll be blunt, are not treating it that way. You're treating it as like a screenshot that you can put into an Instagram story that's going to expire in 24 hours. But yet you say you want to build a long-term profitable business. If you are doing what everybody else is doing with AI and you're asking, how do I get more reach? How do I get more visibility? How do I post more consistently? How do I produce more content? That is volume strategy, but you're not understanding the power of what you already have at hand, the data that you already have to access. The shift I want to invite you into is this. Before you ask how to create more, ask what the data you already have is telling you. Because the clients that you want, the clients you're trying to attract, are probably already showing up in some form. It's through the questions that you're being asked, the resistance that they're saying to you, the objections that are coming through, the language they're using about their own situation. And AI can help you hear it. It can help you theme it. It can help you pull it out. Because we do have so much noise around us. So let me give you 3 specific ways that you can start using AI as an intelligence tool, not as a content tool. The first is mine your market research and your client conversations. If you're doing discovery calls, if you are doing strategy calls, if you're having market research conversations, record them with consent and then feed those transcripts into AI and ask it to identify common themes, recurring language, repeat objections, ask what questions are being asked indirectly. You will hear things in that output that you have been too close to the conversation to notice. The second is run your feedback through a themed lens. So if you have things like offboarding forms, you have client feedback, you have post-program surveys, stop reading these one at a time and asking yourself what these mean. Where can I take out quotes to use in my social proof? Put them together, feed them into AI, and ask what are the most common outcomes clients are describing? What language do they use about their transformation? Where does the friction keep appearing? Because that can inform how you improve your client delivery, how you improve the offer setup, how you improve the clients that you're bringing in. Maybe there's an opportunity to talk more directly to the right clients for this offer. This becomes your positioning intelligence. It becomes how you continue to iterate so that you are just delivering now, but also you're getting better and better and better. The third is analyze the conversations that are already happening around you. So whether that's comments on your posts, DMs, email replies, questions in your community or group program, this is live market intelligence. So when I say market intelligence, I mean, this is what people are saying in real time, the most open, honest, transparent feedback that you will get because they're not overthinking it in an offboarding form. That stuff is gold. Run it through AI to identify what themes are emerging. What are people really asking for? What problems are coming up repeatedly? This can tell you what to address in your content, not from a place of what's trending or what other people are saying you should be doing, but from a place of what your specific audience actually needs to understand. The businesses that will operate at the highest level in the next 5 years are not going to be the ones who use AI to produce the most content. Because what I predict that we're going to see is that right now, everybody is saying that we need to differentiate by our lived experience and our story and our personal brand and our connection. I agree for now, but soon that's going to get married up into producing AI volume content. And we're just going to have the same challenge again, that we're just going to have a lot of volume of content, but it's just going to be more storytelling content. We have to stop competing on the amount that we can produce and start focusing on the clarity of our understanding that then feeds into high quality content, high quality thought leadership. AI is going to be transformative, even more so than it already is today, for two reasons. One is going to be efficiency, the way that you run your business, looking at how you can take tasks into AI that other people don't need to be doing, looking at how you can delegate faster, looking at how you can connect up processes or create standard operating procedures through AI, so the efficiency of your business. And secondly, it's going to be through understanding data. And like I said, businesses have been doing this for years. The businesses that you see today continue to innovate, continue to grow, that have these standout brands are the ones that understood how to understand their buyers, their audience, their consumers, what was being said about them at a deeper way. Like I said, I was working in AI. I didn't realize it, but I was working in AI 9-10 years ago. So we as business owners have opportunity to stop focusing on these surface level discussions about, is AI making you sound inauthentic? Is this caption created by AI? As a serious business owner that is building something for longevity, that is building something to be profitable, to create a brand, to work with clients, is this really the conversation that we should be giving our energy to? AI gives you an opportunity to understand your clients in a more precise way than anyone else in your space, because they're your clients and they're giving you so much data already that you are sitting on. That's not a technology advantage. It is a standards. It is a leadership advantage. And you already have the data. The question is whether you're paying attention to it. Get into the download. Have a look at where you can start using your data more intelligently from today, and put yourself into conversations that understand your buyer that don't focus on giving energy to conversations around volume of content and inauthenticity, it's not worth your time. I'm Rachel Pearson. This is Rich Work. I'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to Rich Work. I'd love it if you left a review. It helps other women to find us. In the meantime, follow me on Instagram at rachelpearson.co for a different take on premium positioning, one that's not about fitting a box. See you next week.